So I'm with Kareenpreet now. Hi, Kareenpreet.
Hey, all right, guys. Nice to be on the channel today. Just reviewing my portfolio. Obviously, I was recommended by Corey to see James, so I took that advice on and having a look at all of his stuff on LinkedIn, connecting with him, having booking meetings with him, having conversations. Definitely helped me a lot to where I am currently now.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's been great. It's been great talking to you over the last sort of few months, and you came up with this really good idea, of course, to review your portfolio live as we are doing now, which I think was genius. I think that's great. I'm really excited to do it. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think it was one of those quick of the mind kind of things. I was like, oh, it's a really brilliant idea to connect with you, but then it showcases my skill set as well. Obviously, given this is just the first idea, I'm sure many people would start to want to join on to this trend as well and join in, have their portfolios reviewed live. But for my portfolio itself, given that I've followed pretty much a lot of your advice and research and everything, I feel like I've got some confidence in it, I think, but we'll let the harsh critique himself.
Yeah, well, I am excited about this because I know that you've watched the videos and you've taken notes and you've been trying to implement some of this stuff, and this is why I'm looking forward to reviewing your portfolio. And just out of interest, so when people watch this, they can have a bit of a benchmark. How long did it take you to design this and build this from scratch?
So putting it into a proper timescale, because the way I broke it down, obviously to set it out in my day, make it a slot. But in general, it took me about 4 days to a week. There were times where I had basic sets done, but then again, I had questions and things that I needed to research, along with just general online research on how to operate with Wix, because Wix was something new for me. So it is definitely something that can be done in a short period of time, but obviously it does depending on your content yourself and what you're posting as well. So me being a marketer slash digital marketer, and again, sadly with not much experience, so I had very little to draw out to push, which I had to stretch a lot of things to put into my portfolio. Whereas, for example, if you're a graphic designer or someone that was in the graphic design in digital marketing or photography, just any, I guess, other digital field, you probably have a lot of things which makes it a bit easier to showcase.
You do, yeah, totally. You do. That's the thing with it is, as you said before, with the digital marketing nuance, it can be more difficult to find that sort of area of specificity to talk about. And I think with you, you do have some projects that you can drill down into, which is great. But yeah, if you're a graphic designer, of course, it is easier, I would argue, to create a portfolio. But the fact that it took you 4 days to a week is quite impressive, and given the fact that you weren't used to using Wix before, which is actually good to hear, because now you've got a new skill. You
Yeah,
can,
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You got this under your belt now, and from what I can see looking at it right now is the fact that actually, well, it's looking clean. It's a clean design, and anybody that knows or watches my videos knows I like to start from the top left.
Yeah.
And we can see here we've got Kareenpreet Singh Right, and I like the orange dot there. It's a very sort of subtle bit of branding color, but that's
Yeah.
quite smart. And I can see obviously above the fold, you've done exactly what I like. You've got a picture of you, which is great. So we know exactly who you are, and then we obviously have
Took that in Croatia with university.
exactly, yeah, and we also have hello, and the bit about me section. So we can read that, which looks excellent. Hungry graduate from Coventry University, open to take advantage for opportunities to further pursue my marketing career. Good. If you're looking for someone who's motivated, creative, and driven in providing you the best marketing campaigns on social media or online, and someone you can have a pint with, then I'm your guy. Now I like that because you inject a bit of personality there. The
Yeah.
fact that you've put someone you can have a pint with, that's really good. It's not dry. There's personality, and it's quite an energetic little bio you've put there.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So a lot of what I've reviewed as well, a lot of people tend to, again, they have the standard keywords, which people say are keywords, they're good, but then also at the same time, it's like, do keywords really portray your personality? Because it doesn't fully reflect someone. Because I could be, I could say I'm passionate, I'm driven, I'm this, I'm that, but it doesn't show. I've just given you three words, but it doesn't show. As obviously, like I said, like for me, that's why I added the little pint section, because I thought it would give a bit more characteristics. Because I know a lot of workplaces, given that they work from home, they are becoming a bit more sort of relaxed and stuff, and encouraging like into working events and stuff like that, like adding a bit of personality and about me in there helps.
Totally, 100%. Yeah, that's it. And that is important with these portfolios because they can end up being quite dry. So you've definitely done that. And we know exactly who you are and what it is that you can do, which is perfect. And we'll explore the menu section in a minute. What we'll do is we'll scroll down. Oh, I like this. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, I like the animations and the subtlety of it. That's really good.
Not to sound like I'm being paid by Wix, but honestly, like, to Google, just the templates and stuff were very easy to use and adapt to how I wanted it. Again, things that to try and figure out how to do stuff. It was a very simple YouTube or Google or even their own website, like help service, like Wix was pretty straightforward and pretty simple to use to be able to do creative things like these. That's why, again, it was one of those that you recommended towards in your list.
Exactly, and that's it. Yeah, and the fact that you can now use it and you're enjoying the design sort of language and process is looking great. So we'll explore this in a second. We've got your projects, abouts and contact section with the nice colors. This is good. So yes, you've definitely watched a few videos because I know that's one of my previous reviews had this feature in it. And I thought it was really good. Feedback on the portfolio, really good idea. And it's also a nice sort of subversive way of getting someone's contact details, if they're reviewing it and, engaging, starting a conversation, which I think is brilliant. Before we go down to the footer area, we'll just have a look at this. We've got the about section. We'll just click on that in a minute, the project and the contact. And let's just explore the footer. Oh, you know what I'm going to say here, don't you? There's one thing that I always say don't include. What is it?
Was it your number, isn't it?
Yeah, your phone number or your personal email. If you can avoid putting your personal email in there, which won't be a problem, but I'll blur that out. But that happens a lot. But with the
I'll share my LinkedIn though.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We got the follow me here as well, which is brilliant. We have the URL to your LinkedIn account, which is excellent, and of course you've got the intellectual property there, which is good. The copyright spot on. Normally what I do is I won't do it now. I'll do it later. I'll do it now. Let's test it out. I can blur this. Oh, no one cares, but yeah, this is, there we go, is a test. Yeah, perfect. Oh yes, very nice, excellent. Okay, great. Right, so yes, first impressions of the homepage. I like it very much. It's clean. It does exactly what I expect a digital marketing portfolio homepage to do. It tells me exactly who you are and what it is that you specialize in. It gives that additional layer of personality, which I like. The color choice is, for me, I like this kind of color choice. It's bold, it's confident, and that's exactly the sort of thing that I like. And then the footer area, you've got the follow me, which is great. You've not put any social media icons at the top to get people distracted with. So that's good. And of course, the one thing we haven't mentioned yet is your download CV, which of course works beautifully. And that is big brownie points because we all know that recruiters love a good download my CV button so they can print it off and hand it out to every Tom, Dick and Harry in the office.
Exactly, yeah. It's one of those as well that you mentioned as well. Some people, when they do review portfolio, they don't see everything. They just have the front view, they see the first. So best case scenario is obviously putting your CV on the homepage as well with the little about page where I am. It just makes it easier for them to get all the information if they aren't fully going through your entire portfolio.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. Having the download my CV on the front page is a good shout. I know some people haven't done that and put it in the contact page, but I think in this instance, it's probably the best option. Yeah, I agree with you. By having that button there, front and center above the fold immediately, if, for example, someone doesn't have the time to look through the portfolio or just wants to go through it quickly, they still have access to your CV, and that can make all the difference. So, and also, I think it gives the viewer, if I was a recruiter or a hiring manager, it gives them a little bit of confidence knowing that they've got it immediately. They're not having to trawl through and find it, which is good for a user experience point of view. So yeah, again, well done on that one. Right, let's have a look at the we've got the homepage, obviously we know that works. Let's have a look at the projects. Great, so you've got a drop-down menu. In fact, before we do that, is there anything else you want to mention about the homepage, or are you quite happy?
I think that's everything about my homepage so far. Obviously, got the navigation bars at the top. I made sure that each button also has its own page as well. So like you can click on project itself, and it has a page with a summary of all three projects that I have.
Oh, let's do that.
As you can
Oh
see
my
here.
goodness. Right, okay, this is
Quick
looking
again, like you were saying, some people are in a rush. So instead of completely viewing everything, there's a quick brief of each of my projects that I've done. Again, with the read more button that I was able to use from Wix as well, which then is hyperlinked to the drop down menu to the actual in-depth description.
That is absolutely spot on. Wow. Okay, right. Now this is looking very, very good. So we go to the projects page. We've just seen there, as Kareenpreet said, we click on the projects, we get a summary of the projects. So we get to understand primal living and get an overview of what that was there. So just so that we're all sort of clear, as a social media marketing executive, my role was to increase customer engagement and consumer engagement and brand awareness. This was done through the use of their social media pages to eventually draw consumers towards their website to increase sales and revenue. Perfect. So we get a really good understanding of what it is that your role was. Being a health and supplement business, the brand image they wanted me to push was helping the nation live another day. And we got to download my reference, which we'll have a look in a second, read more. Good. Right, here we go. So if we just go back, this is nice. I can, as you said before, I can have a look now and see, right, what have you worked on? And I've got a brief here of 3 things that you've worked on, which is already giving me confidence as someone that's looking potentially for a social media executive. You've got your university project there where you work with Monster Drink, and everybody has heard of them. And then, of course, the same with Cancer Support Macmillan. And we'll explore these in a second. But this is very encouraging. We'll look at the download references in a second. Read more. So primal living. Seasonal campaign. We have the brief. Excellent. Okay, so during the December period, Primal Living wanted to change the theme of their posts, moving away from product pushing and more towards increasing consumer interaction, engagement, and brand image to increase their follower numbers and reach. And here we have a really decent dynamic element with a slider, which is giving us some visuals that you've created and examples. But then we get into the thing that I really like. We have the methodology.
Yeah.
So we're now going into this. And how was it working on what was it like working on this campaign?
It was, I mean, at the time, because I was just hired then, it was, I guess for a Christmas period, it was pretty straightforward because you kind of know that because we were hired during December, so it was kind of like we couldn't set up a massive campaign per se. So we kind of just thought, okay, for now, what we'll do is we'll highlight the key events. So, Boxing Day, New Year's, just push a couple of products while also trying to encourage and learn from people as well. Just trying to get some consumer engagement. So again, giving a brand personality with Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, those kind of posts, just to, get into algorithm, just so, we get a reach, that kind of thing. And then just to touch on about all of this in general, this was one of my biggest situations that obviously we had a discussion about, was that there are sometimes when you're a marketer or digital marketer, depending on the brand that you work with, you have a graphic designer department or you have a photography department. So for me, my role here, I was very much the scheduler. I was the idea was mine. I guess the draft was mine. However, this was pushed towards the graphic designer themselves. So having our discussion, the best way we reworded this, because obviously I couldn't claim this is all mine on my work. But we ended up discussing and saying the best way to present this is by saying that I was able to work in a team to create a campaign within a team and realize an image that we wanted, or realize a campaign that we wanted into reality, which obviously we were successfully in doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Yeah. And I love the fact that you've got the methodology in there. Then you've got, again, put the seasonal blogs in it. So you've sectioned out the individual things that you've worked on, which is really good. And again, you've done it with Steve's Line's Christmas Cook Show. That's excellent, brilliant. And yeah, obviously with the brief and the methodology, that's fantastic. And the dynamic elements. You've given a good breakdown of what it is that you've done. with each sort of last paragraph here, I've been reading blogs with an advertised on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram with corresponding hashtags to increase reach, using the products button on the Facebook business to tag recipes book to push some of the sales. Great. So I think the only thing that I would potentially, if you obviously you might not have had access to this, I understand that these things happen, but I think if you had had the opportunity to maybe add any results that you've got through any analytics, that could be something that in the future you could add to this if you had access to it, which I understand that if you moved away from that job, it could be difficult to get.
At the time, obviously, I had access to Facebook Business and Shopify to look at the statistics. But by the time I was let go and everything, obviously I've lost access to everything. So I guess the best option that I had was screenshotting the entire post, which also includes statistics like likes, comments, any interactions on there. Because I remember for me, my most popular post was Steve's Live Christmas, this green one that's just appeared now. As you can see, there's quite a few comments and then quite a few likes and reactions to it. So because it was quite successful. When it's changed to the grey one here, we can see it was just the same as well. So if you are, I guess, lacking in some statistical numbers, best thing to do is to try and screen grab some form of proof of data. So likes, comments, shares, that kind of thing, present it in the best way possible.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I like it a lot. It's a good workaround. And the fact that you've actually got this and these screen caps is good going. And also within your methodology, you put exactly what it is that you did within each. So within this, you made sure that you add sort of a comedic value to your writing and into the post, which is excellent. Obviously, you detail color changes, and here you're talking about what it is that you did in regards to Shopify and your hashtags. And so I'm building a picture up that you can use Facebook and all these other tools, which is really, really good. And I think that really does help quite a lot. So yes, with your projects, really, really good. I like the idea behind this, giving a snippet and then going into more detail on each point. Monster Energy campaign, great. And you even put a video in, which is fantastic. So if I wanted to, I could.
My name is Kareenpreet.
Brilliant.
Going on here now.
Yeah, exactly. So with that's a really sort of smart way of adding more personality into your portfolio and adding more authority as well into your portfolio, because you're also demonstrating the fact that you can edit a video, you can create a presentation, you can present, and again, this must have been quite good fun to work on, I guess.
It was something just interesting and unique to do. As again, it may sound deceptive a bit, but obviously it was a university coursework, but again, it's how you word stuff as well. So I just thought I'll just highlight it as a Monster Energy campaign, and then again sort of talk about how it's a simulation of a situation that I was given as a brief, rather than stating my university coursework. Because then, as we've had this discussion, the minute you kind of mention university, some people are a bit weary on if it's a viable source of evidence to use as a portfolio, even though it should be. Because again, clearly, for example, like my video, it shows I've showcased skills, but obviously a lot of businesses would prefer real life examples of where you've used those skills. So again, sometimes maybe when you do your portfolio, for example, make sure sometimes just choose how you word stuff. So like I said, for example, I said I simulated a situation, or again, I know a lot of people also recommended to me do stuff as a side in general. So like if you weren't hired by them, but say for example, if you were hired by a company, you could say, if I was hypothetically hired by I don't know, for example, Adidas, I would do this campaign, or this is my Photoshop skill of how I would present their latest new products. So it's just trying to, I guess, show what you can in the best way possible. If like me, for example, you've just graduated and you're in the situation where you are lacking a bit of experience.
Yes, yeah, great advice there actually. And anybody that's watching this should watch that back, because I think it's important. You raise a good point there, is that sometimes it is about creating your own opportunity, and potentially you could approach Monster with this idea, and this project, and as you said, you could create another project for another business and do something similar. Yes, of course, it might require a little bit of work from yourself, but you also get to practice the skills. And in your case, you got to use Adobe Premiere Pro, and other social media tools, etc. So yeah, you're right. A lot of businesses will think, oh, it's just uni work, but actually, I'd argue that in some instances, uni work, you do a lot of research, you do a lot of planning for this. This is not just
Yeah.
something that's taken lighthearted.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like for me, when I was my time at university, I never really thought about or never tried to do much video editing and like photo editing. It was only until coursework started creeping up. I'm like, oh, I actually need to create some things. I need to show things. That's where my skills start picking up. So stuff like Photoshop and Canva and Adobe Premium. Like I've never edited a video in my life until this coursework. So from there, I had to read, like you said, do research, figure out how to operate it, how to use it. Again, thankfully for university, obviously through that, and obviously LinkedIn as well. You're able to learn. You get the software. It's usually for free from universities or some form of software for you to use. Because again, when you do apply for jobs, they may highlight, you need to be a specific level or have some understanding of Photoshop, for example.
Yes.
However, it's a photo editing software, so I may not have the skills in Photoshop for you. However, I can prove that I can edit an image because I use another example such as Canva, which is similar in that aspect. So it's all about tailoring yourself as best as you can and push yourself as best as you can with what you have.
100%, exactly. Yeah, use the tools that you had available and make the most of them. Correct. I think that's great. And then finally, we look at Macmillan again. Another video which is brilliant. It loads up nice and quickly. We get the brief, we get the methodology, so we get an understanding of what it is that you've done.
It'll pop up in the bottom right as well, just to remind them to click play as well.
Yes, I like that. That's really cool, which you can then get obviously removed. But yeah, this is really smart. That'll be my internet. But this is really um, a really smart way of presenting your work. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is probably only the second portfolio I've reviewed where I get to see video footage. I've done one other, and I enjoyed that, and I thought that was really good. But this, what I like about this one, I think this is the first where we get video footage of what it is that you actually did in regard to the brief and the project. And I think anybody watching this, could potentially take some hints and pointers from this, because it's a great medium to convey your ideas.
Yeah. So I think the fear some people have with videos is the fact that the video is obviously out there for them to be seen, and obviously some people are a bit camera shy or that aspect, or more they're scared of sharing their work and getting critiques. Well, the advice I'd give is, I say advice, the method I did for this was obviously, again, this video isn't actually published on it is and it isn't published on YouTube. It's published on my profile. However, with one of the settings, what you can change is that it's not been published live on YouTube. However, it's only accessible if a link is provided. So using Wix, obviously I can embed the video, which I've done here, and then using the link I put on there. So to view it. So the only way people can, view my video is either through my portfolio or if the link has been provided for them to view it. So if you were to visit my random YouTube channel, which I'm not really active or do anything on, it was used just for the project. But if you were to, search me on YouTube, I will have no videos, nothing posted. So, if you've got the fear of sharing work on YouTube to be public, and you don't want everyone just to use YouTube you and then find you and then have a laugh, but you can do it that method, and that's, the most secure way of putting it up there.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, absolutely. You can hide these videos, but you got control of who sees it. I agree completely.
Yeah.
That's very important. So overall, with the projects, the takeaways for me are, I really like we'll have a look at this for a second. Down the reference, perfect. So we actually get a reference of, I can edit this bit out, but you've actually put a reference in, which is brilliant. And that's very important to have, I would say. So I mean, I'll edit this bit out so we're not having that involved, but I'll just say that we've checked this in a minute. But yeah, I like the fact that there's a reference. I think that's smart, definitely.
So it's one of those, like, you want to try and get as much help as possible as you can, and that's pretty much what I did. Was when I left Prime 11, I messaged them saying, could I have a written reference from you guys, because then it'll be a lot more easier. Because especially with references, some people debate about it and they say, oh, people do check references, some people don't check references. It's unsure. Whereas, if you have I guess a written document like this, whether they check it or not, you've got yourself covered. And given the scale that Primal Living was, it gives you validation and a big name behind you to be like, hey, look, these guys are referring me for this job, from this job to your job. So I think I should be ahead of the competition because of this. And I'm not relying on a previous small, no, not to slander any smaller jobs, but lower jobs or like other previous jobs that you've had. I've got an actual written reference from a marketing job for a marketing role, which I'm now applying for another. Whereas other references, again, whether they check it or not, they call it, email it, whether it's there, so it's got your back covered.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Yeah, and as you said, by including it, it's just an additional layer. It's an additional bonus for people to look at, and they will, because as recruiters and hiring managers, they'll want to see what other fellow professionals will say about yourself, which is great. And as you get further on in your career, you can add more of these if you choose to, which is brilliant.
Exactly, yeah.
I think the takeaway really for the project side of things is, I like the summary page. I think that's very, very clever. I like the fact that that's been done, because it gives me a top level overview of what it is that you created. And if I'm hiring for somebody that's working, if I'm say a charity, for example, I can have a look here now and say, right, I'll click onto this area. If I'm looking for someone that's wanting to work within, say, social media branding, I know I can go to this kind of post. So it gives a good overview of what it is that you do. And then we get deeper by clicking the read more. We get more of an understanding of the ins and outs of what it is that you've been working on each project, which is fantastic. And you've kept up the brief and methodology section. So overall, really, really good. At the moment, a couple of observations is, I would be careful with spelling and grammar. A couple of areas where spelling and grammar will need to be changed, but that happens with everybody's, including my own. So it's always worth having, like myself, having a couple of eyes go over it.
Or personally, I've just realised in your Google tab there, you've got Grammarly as well. That's always a good option to use as well.
Yeah, I'd be lost without it, mate, because honestly, my spelling and grammar is probably the worst in the world. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you can use a tool like that, that would be really good. Like we're doing now, just check over it. Someone has a look over it. But other than that, the projects is I think a really good, clever way of doing it. And again, it's a first for the channel, because I've not seen that summary work before. And again, that's very, very helpful for people being inspired to do their own. So good work on that. I'm very, very inspired.
Definitely an idea worth adapting onto. I think for many portfolios, again, with breaking it down was something key for me as well, because the way I sort of learn and read stuff, I like to break things down, have an understanding of which each section is which. And as you said, when recruiters are looking at your portfolio, you want to make it simple as possible for them. So just giving them titles like what the brief was, what your methodology was, and then obviously one of my feedback was obviously maybe if I could find some reviews, find any statistics or anything from the posts, adding that in as well. Again, putting that as a title, it just makes it easier to follow and lead.
Exactly, yeah. But that's right. Exactly as you said, it makes it easier to follow, and that's very important, because people don't have the time to to get lost in these portfolios. They'll just disappear. They'll just exit as quickly as possible. But yeah, you've made that nice and simple for them to understand. And of course, they got the opportunity of going to individual projects if they just want to have a look at an individual project. Let's have a look at the about page.
Adding back to the video as well that I posted as well, like you mentioned, people are going off to different links, they'll get distracted. So that's another reason why you should embed the video, is because it's you're still on my portfolio, on my page, to view the video. You're not being sent to YouTube to then view that, and then all of a sudden, you'll look at your recommended or your suggestion, Sidemen 1100. You'll be distracted to see something else.
Yeah.
So that's why you should try and do your best to keep them on the page as much as possible. If they were to be, I guess, sent off the page, the best thing for that would be downloaded items such as my CV or the reference. That's the only reason why I guess you'd want them to leave the page, is because they are viewing another item from you, which doesn't lead to anywhere else.
100%, yeah, because as you rightly said, if it does link off to YouTube or whatever, I'm on a Mr. Beast video and that's it, it's game over.
Exactly, yeah.
Or you're on Twitter and you disappeared. So yes, definitely, yeah, good work. That keeping them on page is essential. And the about me section, which again I like the again we've got the personality here. It's quite an interesting picture. You're looking happy.
Yeah,
A bit cheeky there, I must say.
that was my first day at Prime Living. So I think for me at that time, I was like, my career is definitely shooting off, and I think it's my first day. I was just really excited. I think because there was a TV set and everything, I thought, oh, am I going to be on TV as well?
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. It's a great picture to have. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in a studio like that. That's awesome.
I was planning on changing it soon once I get the image back.
Right.
Because it was just, again, it was a cheeky image. So you got the Go Ape Outdoor Activity Center I used to work at, and they have like a 12, I think it's like 12-foot tall, like wooden monkey. And I remember we did some Christmas posts, and there was one where I sat on top of it. So I was thinking that again could portray
Brilliant.
personality as well.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. Yeah, and you can have fun with it, as you said. You can swap in and out pictures on a regular basis. But no, this is good. The about me section's great. It's exactly what we expect. From an about me section. It's good that you have the picture, and the key thing here is that you don't go on forever about yourself, which is great. And not that that's a bad thing, but again, it's just people want to just pick out the key areas, and you've done that. It's easy to read, it's digestible, and we get an understanding of who you are. So yeah, good work. And then we have the contact page. Lovely, straightforward contact page, which is exactly what we're after here. And then people can make their inquiries or contact you in whichever way they see fit. What I normally do as well, which I'll do after this, is test it on mobile. And Wix is very good with these things.
I was just about to mention that Wix actually has a mobile section to it'll have desktop set view and then mobile view, so then you can actually see it in the mobile view, but then also you can edit it as well to better suit a mobile device.
Yeah, let's see if this works. Let's have a look. I mentioned this, but let's have a look. Let's say iPhone XR. No, it won't do it because I'm not throttling it. No worries, but I'll check it on mobile. So yeah, good. I think it's looking really, really smart, this. So having looked at your contact page, having looked at all of your pages, Kareenpreet, I think you have a really good portfolio here. I do. I think it's solid. I think.
Guys, if you want to hire me.
Say again?
If you want to hire me, guys, you heard it from the guy himself.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the things to take away from here is that anybody watching this will know that keeping a portfolio like this one simple is extremely important, and putting the main message out, and that's the key here. We know exactly what it is that you can do. We know exactly who it is that you are, and we get all the things that we need in one place. So we get your CV, we get your references if we want those, and we get an understanding of what it is that you've done on every project. And that is essential. This is what hiring managers want to see.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the added bonus of some of the videos and some more of the interactive dynamic elements of the project, which, again, show that you care about what it is that you created, and show that you have the authority and the expertise to be actually able to deliver on what it is that you say you can do. And that's the whole thing with a portfolio, isn't it? Is that you can actually demonstrate your ability, which is what your projects have done.
Exactly, yeah. Because at the end of the day, like you said, when they want to recruit you, they want to see, you want to give them enough. It's like a taster. You want to give them enough to show what you can do, but you don't want to give it all away, because then there's not much for them to understand. So you want to give them a tease of what you can do, that kind of thing. And again, it is one of those, at the end of the day, if you do or you don't get the job, it is one of those small things. Like once I made this, I was generally just proud of it. And it is one of those self-reflecting things as well. It's like you look back at your career and you look back at things that you've done, and it's like you feel good about what you've made and what you've done.
Yes.
You feel like it's completely wasted. Like you put it all into one aspect. Because when jobs say stuff like, oh, you're unexperienced, you haven't got enough skill set, it's like it does get you disheartened. But then with a
It does.
portfolio, it's one of those that even if they do say that, you can see it yourself in your own portfolio. It's like, I know I've got the skills, so you don't feel like you don't actually have any skills at all. That's the thing, because you've brought together all your skills into one portfolio. And again, as we mentioned as well, it's a very personal thing. So, like when you look at your cover letters and your CVs, they're very just black and white, point straight. Like me personally, I've never really been a fan of cover letters, just because I feel like it's not very personally. Like they say it is a personal thing, but I just feel like it's not. You're just sort of cradling them. You're just giving them everything they want to hear, but you're not actually expressing
Yes.
you and your skill set. It's like, oh, they want to hear I can do this. They want to hear they can do, but it's like they're hearing it all. But with a portfolio, you're showing you can do that while also showing who you are as a person. That kind of thing as well, which I personally think is very important. If I were to hire someone, I want to know, like I mentioned, am I able to go and have a drink with you while also discussing marketing items with you as well, or are you just someone that's gonna come to my office, do a great job, don't get me wrong, but then there's nothing more to you? So depends on your CSR and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I think you've summed it up beautifully there. Really, is portfolios will show what it is that you can do, and as you rightly said, cover letters, CVs, they have a use up to a point, but your portfolio speaks a lot louder. Actions do speak louder than words, and yours
Exactly.
obviously
Yeah.
has been designed for that purpose. And if there are, with every portfolio, are there any improvements? Well, yes, I think there are a couple of things. Obviously, spelling and grammar is something that every portfolio I've mentioned, well, you need to go through. But with the projects, I don't think there's much here. What I would potentially do is maybe, again, it's subjective, just my opinions, but I would maybe have an area where you put an expertise. So, for example, you'd maybe list here expertise, um, social media, or content creation. Here, you might put Facebook advertisements. Here, you might put something along with analytics. But my point is that when you actually get into the project, maybe you highlight your expertise, maybe bold them, underline them, whatever it is. And then what you could do is you could, on an individual project, so let's just take Monster Energy as an example. You can highlight what the tools you've used and the expertise that you have, but you could also have a call to action at the bottom here saying, if you need help with your Facebook advertising, or your whatever it is that you've got here, put a call to action, because I think that would be great, because I'd be looking going, right, Kareenpreet can use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Wow. Okay, perfect. Well, I need that. Have a call to action there, potentially. So
yeah, that'll be a good idea to add. Yeah, it's like a straight button, which will be easier.
Yeah,
Because I've realized with, like, for example, with my portfolio here, obviously I've got the video up there. Scrolling down, there's a lot of like white space there, which I could utilize, and just a small table, just highlight some skills, or like I said, the systems and what I've been using and whatnot. Because then, even though it's written in like brief methodology, like I said, just like I said, make it like they're done. So make everything as simple as possible.
Yes, yeah, and that's the way I use websites, because I like to think, I am a dumb user. I want to be handheld through everything, and I think that could help. I really think, other than that, in terms of what it is that you've done in terms of adding additional functionality to it, I think it's very, very good. I would remove your personal email, just maybe remove that. I think really it's a very solid portfolio, and I think with those little tweaks, and you keep putting it out there and keep talking about it, because that's the other thing as well. It's actually something I don't mention a lot about, and I will discuss this in more detail in the future, is actually being able, how do you push your portfolio, how do you promote it?
I guess that's the next step for me, is trying to figure out how to do it. So for me, for my steps has been so far is pretty much LinkedIn. So after, like, once we've made this video, and once this video it does go out, my plan is to share the video, then also have see the link for my portfolio there. But also, if you have a look on your LinkedIn profile, there is also the website section as well, which again, just pop your URL in there. It's just one of those which again, I would put it as a post as well once it's made and once you think you're happy with it. And I guess if you're going through James here, if he's happy with it, then start pushing it on your LinkedIn post like, hey guys, this is my portfolio. Please, if you could have a look. And again, I mean, I'm assuming most of you guys that are watching this are digital marketers, you know how to use social media, the hashtag, push it as best as you can in that aspect.
Yeah, again, good advice. Yeah, totally. That's the key. That is the next step, is you start speaking about it and talking about it, because otherwise people aren't going to know it's there. And I think what you've done with this portfolio, it certainly ticks all the boxes that we've spoken about previously on reviews. And I think, to have done this in the space of a week is very impressive stuff. And I think people should be able to look at this now and take elements from it and improve upon their own portfolio, especially the project section. Have a look at that. Look at maybe including the download my CV button within the homepage. Keep it simple. That is the most important thing, and keep it focused, which is again what you've done. So overall, Kareenpreet, I think really you've got a solid portfolio that will eventually get you the job that you want. And as you mentioned before, if you're hiring, then you should certainly check out Kareenpreet's updated portfolio, and the links below on this video. And of course, we'll be tweeting about it and messaging and posting about it on LinkedIn too. So really good work, mate. Are you overall, you're happy with it?
Yeah, I'm over the moon with it. I was proud of it. I was happy with it. I was just thought, let's see what James, the almighty portfolio guy, thinks of it. I mean, again, big shout out to our mutual friend Corey for letting us meet each other. Like, thank you so much, bud. Like, you're one of my good mates. You pushed me to speak to James, and clearly this has definitely helped me a lot in not just my portfolio, but just in general my marketing career. Having meetings and discussions with James definitely has helped me a lot. So again, it is one of those where even if a portfolio is a 50-50 unsure situation for you, like just in general, having a conversation, interacting with someone who's got a lot more experience will definitely help. Because again, one of the things we mentioned was the services you provide. They are free, guys. You do know that. Because a lot of people, as we mentioned, like charge insane amount of money just to book a meeting with them, just have a conversation with them. And as a graduate, you're not coming out of uni with like a fat paycheck or anything, are you? I mean, you're in debt more than anything. So, take advantage of any opportunity that you can. I mean, again, we have James here, so I would definitely say, just do the best you can, hit him up, message him, like just any questions you have, he'll be happy to message you guys. He's not paying me to say this, by the way, guys. Like, this is generally me. Like,
I can't afford to. I can't afford you, mate. You're too expensive.
Very helpful.
No, yeah. I really appreciate that that endorsement, and yeah, thank you. And you're absolutely right. There are people out there who will charge for this sort of stuff, and yeah, it's not a smart move, considering that a lot of people, as you rightly said, come out of university and they need help. What they don't need is barriers and payment walls. But I'm trying to keep the barriers to entry extremely low, so that yes, people like yourselves, Kareenpreet, can go out and create a portfolio, and have the confidence, and because you clearly have the ability, and that's the most important thing. And you've done it. And a few weeks ago you didn't have a portfolio, and now you do. Exactly, and you're now at a position where you're at a good advantage to over others. So,
I mean, one market I would say would be that should be watching this and should be open to this is universities. Like at my Coventry University, we've got the talent team, and when I was having meetings, again, similar that we do, like talking about my career, job application, that kind of thing, I mentioned about James, and she was shocked. She was looking into his LinkedIn as well. She was like, for marketers, we never really fully discussed it about it. We never had an interaction about it. We never mentioned about it. Like, we've always just done cover letters and CVs. And then even with graphic design departments, from my understanding, they've mentioned it, but there's not really much support to it. So it's one of those where I would say universities should definitely reach into this market as well. Well, not so much market, but reach into the idea of a portfolio for marketers, because clearly it's something that does work and does help people. And again, message James, guys, or just any portfolio is worth definitely developing or adding that under your repertoire. Honestly, I think
100%. Yeah, I completely agree. I think where the de facto pieces of paper in recruitment are the covering letter and CV. And, having worked in this industry now for 2.5 years, specifically within digital recruitment, CVs, you can make them look great, you can brand them up with colors, but they don't demonstrate, they only tell. And that in itself can be difficult, because I've had it in the past where I've had CVs come through which are great, but and they talk a good talk, but when it comes to actually demonstrating ability, unfortunately the candidate might not be able to do that. The portfolio cuts this through, and you've demonstrated with 3 projects that you can do it, and you can talk about it. And that is exactly why portfolios are, in my opinion, the future of within the creative space, not just the graphic design. Graphic design has been doing it for eons, but
Exactly.
with
Yeah.
marketers, it should be now the first thing they think about doing, even at uni, as you've done with your projects, because they
Yeah.
hold just as much weight.
Because it is one of those, like, you've spent time making these things to get your grade and stuff. So, like, why shouldn't you be able to showcase it at the end of the day?
Absolutely, yeah. It's no different really from any other project. Yes, it might not be a real world project, but the fact is the processes and all the other things that are involved in creating these stuff, you still have to go through them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm delighted to have reviewed this. I think that it is a very clean. What I like about this channel and what I like about these videos is that every video, every portfolio I review, you can see the levels of improvements. And I think that with yours, you've implemented so many facets of the previous reviews, that you've
Yeah.
created a really strong portfolio based off of this. And with a few tweaks, there'll be very, very little else to improve upon. And that's where you want to get to. You want to have a gleaming portfolio that all you do is add projects to, and you're very, very close to it. And
It's like one of those, like I say, just a time management thing. Like the way I started watching, the way I got into watching your videos was, like I said, through Corey. But to actually watch the videos, I was at the gym. I was like, oh, I hate cardio, hate the treadmill. I'll pop one of your videos on as I'm running on the treadmill, and time flew. I took some mental notes. Then once I
right.
sat in the car, wrote down things that were key and important. I mean, even through our interviews, you clearly knew I sound like a stalker, knew pretty much almost interviews like this. I was like, oh, you mentioned this in this video, and then in that video you mentioned this. I was like, it's one of those, like, honestly, like, it's worth going. Like, that's the point, I guess, of these videos that you do. It's like, as a different form of content as well. Like, instead of just writing everything down hypothetical. And again, this is why the idea I suggested to bring us on to have it reviewed, because as a peer review, as a one-to-one review, it has a bit more I mean, as we've been waffling on so much now, like, we've had so much to discuss, so much to talk about, so much to, like, you've learned what my thought process is, so maybe my thought process could be different to someone else's. And again, like, this idea was new, so if anyone's got any new ideas and stuff like that, like, James is always open to hear them out and understand them, and I mean, like this, put forward and do it. So there's one of them, just go for it.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? It's your idea about doing this live review was a really good one, and I hope that others will follow suit, and I'll be able to do a few more as well, because it does it does require a little bit of bravery, because you don't know exactly what it is you're going to expect to get, but certainly I think it was a really good idea, and we, as you rightly said, we get more insight into your thought process, which balances the review and the argument.
Exactly, yeah.
Kareenpreet, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really do appreciate you spending your time creating this portfolio, and also allowing me to review it and doing this.
I mean, I appreciate all the help you've given to me, helped me, supported me and everything. So, like,
not at all.
Appreciate you more than anything. Yeah.
Not at all. It's just fingers crossed now that we can start thinking about getting you into paid employment within the industry you want to work in.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully. So you hear that, guys out there? If you're hiring, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, and no doubt we'll be speaking more about Kareenpreet over the next few days when we launch this video on the socials. So
exactly.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. No. Thank you as well for your time as well.